Welcome back to another Unstoppable Recap. And family, I must tell you, this right here, in my opinion, must have been one of the saddest experiences I had to listen to on Unstoppable Live. And trust me, I've heard some sad experiences shared, but this one right here, in my opinion, is the worst horrific story I ever had to listen to on the platform. This mother's experience was so sad and so horrific that it didn't only take one episode, it took 2 episodes for us to get an understanding of what her life was like. And with each episode went over 2 hours. But with every word that came out of this mother's mouth, it had me and every single viewer cringing on the edge of our seats as if we were listening to a horror movie being played out. This mother was abused at the hands of men she was involved with. But that wasn't even the worst part. She witnessed attempt on her daughter's life, as well as she witnessed the murder of her son, as she shared in this episode. Family, take a listen to this one that was shared on Unstoppable Live.
I was born in Kingston, Jamaica, and my mom, I was a twin, and from the day I was born, my aunt said, it's like I wasn't, my mom act as if I didn't exist, because she was just for her boy, and the boy died 3 months, and my aunt said she had to take me to the way how my mother was treating me. My aunt grew me, she had 2 sons, so she grew me like her daughter. And my aunt's spouse abused me beyond words. And I grew up under such brutality. It was more, it was more than I could take. And where we used to live, it was 22 people live in the yard. And my aunt, one of the people were scared of my aunt's spouse, but one of the lady couldn't take how we deal with me, and she told him one day, and they had a big fight, and she threw him out. And the night he went and bought a piece of thick cane, the cane that we eat, a very thick piece. Somebody saw him when he was coming in the yard with the cane. And I was outside washing the dishes. I was 10 years old. I was outside washing up the dishes, and he creep up behind me and knocked me in my head with the cane. I'm a little girl who loved to sing, and worse when I feel scared, or the spirit of rejection was my twin sister. So more time when that twin sister come among me, I had to sing, and my aunt said she hear me out there singing, and then she don't hear anything. And she called me about 3 times. And when she came out, she saw me on the ground. And she screamed, and everybody came out, and they called the ambulance. I was born with a hole in my heart. The doctor said big as a 50 pence. I was in hospital for a while. And my mom, that time my aunt said, my mom did look for that man to do him things, but we didn't have a mother and daughter relationship. She called me all kind of dirty names. She speak all kind of negative things. When you grow big, you're not gonna come after nothing. You just gonna walk and breathe and picnic. That's what she said. She used to say, I'm sure if I'm his, because he got 12 of us, but he only owned the 3 out of the 12 that come brown like him. The other rest, he said, some is jacket, some is waistcoat. So I fall in the jacket part of the 50-50. My father tried to rape me. My aunt sent me to him when I was 10 years old too. My aunt sent me to him for lunch money, and my father tried to rape me. I went through all of that in little girl stage. And at 14, my friend, a girl across the street who lived across the street from me, my aunt used to say, don't speak to them because they're sidewalk girls and they don't have no future. But one of the girls she tell me one day that this guy across the street liked me. And because of the abuse that I get from my aunt's spouse, I hated man with a passion. And then my father tried to rape me, and that make it double time. I just hated boys and a whole and men. And it so happened that she said, the girl came to me and she said, no, he really love you. And the first time I went, she called me to introduce to him. I did like him. And his father showed me a fatherly love that I never knew, because he's the father who owned one child. And that guy tricked me. He told me it was my birthday, and he told me that his dad bought me a gift. I went for the gift. He directed me to his room, and I went for the gift. And he came in and locked the door, and he raped me. I cried. I cried. I cried. Because my heart desire was, as my aunt said, you keep your body together until God bless you with that person. Anyway, it so happened that I started sleeping away in school. I started eating. I started acting weirdo that I didn't understand, because my aunt didn't, the old time country people, they don't tell you certain things as little girl, because I didn't know about menstrual, what that was, anything about no menstrual, nothing. I had no understanding about that. And it so happened that I got pregnant, and my aunt, they didn't know, because I was a fat little girl, and they didn't realize I was pregnant until about 4, 5, 6 months in those stages. My teacher call my aunt and tell her to carry me to the doctor, and the doctor tell her that I'm pregnant. I think 6 months pregnant, either 5 or 6. That same evening, my aunt, she cried, because she knew what my mother would do with me. Anyway, she came the evening. She came the evening, and my aunt said, I have something to tell you. And she said, what is it? She was standing just a feet away from me. And I was washing up dishes and outside at the table. And my aunt said, you're picking it 6 months pregnant. Oh my gosh. By the time I could try to move off, my mom grabbed me in the back of my blouse, and she dragged me and flashed me against the table, and she took the frying pot, was the first thing her hand reached. Remember, I have a hole in my heart, the doctor said, big as a 50 pence. And my mother beat me with that frying pan. My head, my back, she was just beating me, like she was taking some vengeance out on me. And my aunt and a lady named Miss Lillian had to come and try hold on to her. And she flashed Miss Lillian to the wall, and my aunt, and Miss Lillian grab back her hand to grab the frying pot from her and put a belt, but it's a leather belt she put in her hand. And she beat me until that leather belt burst in two. People started gathering outside the street because they hear the corrosion, what was, the crying and the screaming. And eventually, my blouse tear off of me, but the way she was doing me. And she grabbed on my skirt, and the skirt burst off me. I was just in my little bra and my panty. I run off. I see the getaway, and I run off from her. And she took, the old time Alex buckle. She threw it straight in my head back. When I ran out the street, blood was running all over me. And the gunman in the community did like what was going on. And he came up and said, what kind of idiot thing this? What kind of thing this you do to the little girl? And she went up into the gunman's face. And the gunman said, "What to the woman, your man? If somebody not the woman is sick." And she went for her cutlass. And she come out and tell him, so she would chop him to minces. So by the time she's in argument with him. I thought I got the escape now, and I run back in the yard, which I don't know if because it's the corner of her eyes. She saw me when I run back through the gate, and she run after me. I run up to the kitchen, and the kitchen have a thick door. I slam the kitchen door and climb up on the window. The window a little bit high. I climb up on the window, and below the window is gravel, pure gravel. And she kick off the kitchen door, and I try to come out over the kitchen window, and the board burst away with me, and I fell and dropped on my back. When I woke up, I was in hospital, and I was there. They kept me there for a while in the hospital. I think I came out of my tummy was 8 months.
All right.
Because the heart was.
Before you continue, sorry. All right. So you mentioned that you got pregnant, and you also mentioned what the guy across the street did to you that your friend said like you. Now,
Yeah.
some of the viewers are not clear on how you got pregnant. So clear that part up again for them for me.
He said to me, his dad bought me a gift, and it's on his bed in his bedroom, and he direct me where to, because all I'm going to him, I didn't go any further than at the front gate, but that because he said a gift, a present, it's the first in my entire life. And I was 14, and it's the first in my entire life I'm getting a gift. So I was so happy, and I asked him where, and he said, just go down to the passageway, and you see the first door on the left. And as the moment I went, the gift was on the bed, honestly, the gift was on the bed, and I pick up the gift now to pull it, and he came in the room and locked the door. And all I was begging and pleading to him, even at that time, because he just come up to me and started kissing and pulling my clothes, and I was, keep pushing up, and I said, what are you doing? What are you doing? Because then again, I had no idea what sex was all about, honestly. No idea. I saw a woman pregnant, and when I asked my aunt how her tummy growing so big, my aunt said it's craving, she craving. That's what happened to her. I have no idea of nothing. I'd grown dark, very lackadaisical. My aunt grew me dark. And he raped me that night in his room. His dad wasn't there. And that night he raped me.
All right. So for the person who was asking how she got pregnant, that is how she got pregnant right there. All right. You can continue.
That is, yeah. Yeah. And it so happened that I came out the hospital in 8 months because the doctor said they couldn't send me out. They have to keep watch on me. And I came out 8 months, and my aunt said, well, you have to find somewhere put you because I can't afford a baby inside here. And he looked a room, and I went to live with him. One Christmas, that was the 31st of December, I went to look for my mom. Just long time, because we don't have a mother and daughter relationship. Sometimes I'll just give her a visit, just to still sure that I still love her, although she treat me so bad. And I went up there, and she said, I wish breeze blow you up here. And I have to say, Mom, why you have to say that? But I must some breeze blow you up here. And then again, she did eat the guy like poison, because she wanted to choose for me who she want me to talk to. And I sat there with her for about 2 hours, and then I said I have to go home.
Yes, the person that got her pregnant is the person that decided to get a room. They eventually got together. Explain that part to them for me, please.
Yeah, my aunt said, because I was 8 months pregnant now, my aunt said she didn't have space for me and a baby. So he had to look a room. He had to look somewhere to put me. So he got a room, and we went to live together. And it's like we live on this road, and the road beside that road, on the same road, he had a woman. On the road behind that road, he had a woman. And the following road, he had a woman. Now the woman that lived across the street from me, that woman, she is like she wanted him to leave me completely, which I was getting very scared of him because I saw him do some terrible things. One night we're coming from the movie and a policeman in front of us just coming from, looked like him just coming from work or something, and he was alone, and my baby father grab out the police gun and push it in his mouth and blow the whole of my head back. And I cry beyond cry because I never know he was so cold. So it's the girl across the street from me, she wanted him, and I was getting scared of him to a certain action because he became Mr. Michael Manley, right? And he would do the dirty work for the politicians. And that girl planned to burn me with black acid when she see that he wouldn't leave me for her. She mocked me, she jeer me, she beat the other woman, she go to the other women and she beat them and what have you. But because she see, he told her one day in front of her friends that don't care what if she see me and him have, me and him coming from little boy, the younger days, and she now can put me out of his life. So she have to accept what she see. But she had a plan to throw acid on me in my face. One evening I was in the room cooking, and I saw him run up the stairs with his knife in his hand, and he said, "You take me for idiot." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And him say, "You think my woman will see I go across the street? I go up on a bike with a man." And he just, I run off and jump on the bed, and him run up to me and stab me 2 inches from my heart. He stabbed me. I end up in hospital there again for a while. When I came out the hospital, he get to realize that she lied and she had to run away for some time. Anyway, when I came from the hospital, that man, he was, I get so scared of him. Honestly, I get so scared of him. Anyway, the night I was coming down from my mom, the evening, and he said, "Where are you coming from?" And I said, "I went and looked for my mom." And he said, "Did you ask me permission to go and look for your mother?" And I just simply said, "Do I have to ask your permission to look for my mother?" And one kick, because he have black belt in karate, one kick and kick away my feet. And I was 8 months, 2 weeks pregnant, and he kicked me, and kicked my right hand out of the socket. He kicked me. I went in labor, and he kicked me until he feels satisfied. All people were screaming for murder. He kicked me until he feels satisfied, and he walk away, leave me on the street, bleeding and in labor. Is a gentleman who lived near up where he was, and he took me and they put me in the taxi, and he took me to the Jubilee Hospital. And it was something else, because in those time in the 70s, the technology wasn't like now, and I was ripped and tear from. I had to be stitched inside and outside the way I was tear to have that baby. And he didn't come to the hospital until about 2-3 weeks after. That's when he came and looked. And I was in the hospital for 6 weeks. And eventually, when I came out, just for a little time, he cooled down. And, when him get upset about anything, he threw the dishes or the cups or the glass across the street and break them up. When he get upset, because through the doctor said, anyhow I go through any kind of harassment again, the heart not gonna can take it, and I can drop out. Oh my gosh. Then it so happened that when after I had the baby, my mom, 6 months after, he went to the Mr. Michael man. They gave him money for to do some contract work, and he gave out the contract work and everything. But he went to the Caymanas Park and he gambled off everything else. And he came home the Sunday. And when he came home the Sunday morning from Caymanas Park, it was about 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's a tenement yard with too much people living at the yard. And he came and boom, boom, boom on the door, and the baby jumped up and started to cry. The baby was 10 months old, and he said he wanted tea, and his cup that he mug that he drink out of is those enamel big mug he drink his tea from. And he said he wants some hot Horlicks. And I said, then you can't look about it. The baby is crying and people into them bed. And he blow up and carry on. And just to keep down the noise, I went, took up the baby, tried to light the little oil stove, wait till it come up, put on the water and boil him like his tea. He like his tea very hot. So I let the water boil up, and then I mix the tea and give to him. And would you believe when he supped, I was sitting down, trying to put the breast in the baby mouth to cool him down. And he said, shut him up. And I said, but I'm trying. And the man took the big mug, enamel mug of boiling Horlicks, and threw it on me and the baby. And when him threw the boiling tea upon us, the baby screamed and him boxed the 10-month-old baby, and blood come from the baby ears. And people hear the screaming of the baby and hear me screaming, and his brother run out, and people come out and say, what is it? And they saw the baby bleeding from his ears and his mouth. And the brother tell his girlfriend, take the baby to the hospital, and cause my skin started stripping. So he said one of them, he had two girlfriends sleeping same time. So he tell one to take the baby to the children's hospital, and tell the other to take me to the public hospital. I cried.
All right.
Yeah, my mom heard what happened, and she finally came to the hospital, and when the baby get discharged, she took my son. Now she took my son and said, when I came from the hospital and I went now to get the baby, she said, you owe me a son. And I didn't understand what she was saying. And I asked her, what are you talking about? And she said, because of me, her son died. Remember, I said I was a twin, girl and boy, and the boy died at 3 months. And she owed me up for that, because my aunt said the boy weighed 3.5 pounds and I weigh 10 pounds. And she blamed me, says me make her son die. And she took away my son because I was scared of my mother, honestly. My mother was like Bin Laden. Honestly, I don't know if she is not twin sister, twin, because she was very cruel. And I couldn't go up to her, so I just back off and leave her. But my baby father, no, he didn't intend for that. So he went up there, and she and him had it was a knife and cutlass thing in the street until people have to call police. Anyway, I had to just leave her, make sure keep him. And I got pregnant again, which I didn't want to get pregnant for him again. I went to the clinic to get an injection, and the doctor said because of my heart condition, they don't feel safe of giving me the pill, because I did want to take the pill, and it says best to take the injection. And one of my baby father friend woman saw me in the clinic and went and tell him, so she saw me there, and he came to the clinic and he kicked me in my face and beat me in the clinic right there. They had to call police. All right. I went through that. One night, there was a young boy there who steal an elder lady's stove, and the lady get to find out that is him. So he went to prison for 6 months for that. And at the time, the same day he got the sentence, I was going on to the shop to buy some washing soap to wash some clothes. And one of the girlfriend, that is the woman across the street, one of our friend come to call me. And I was saying, why is she calling me? Because I don't talk to those people. But she said, come here, I need to tell you something. So I went to hear what she's saying. And I noticed she's hiding, and I went to her and she said, listen, not because you see me walk with your mate, but still like you, I like how you flex. And leave the community today. Leave the community, go for your mother and stay for your mother for the weekend. And I asked her why, and she said, just go. Take it as I tell you, just leave. I said, all right, thanks. And I went to the shop, bought my soap, do what I was doing, and then I went up to my mother. And when I went up there and I told her what the girl told me, she said, well, either you stay up here or you can go on back down there and them do what they want to do to you, but my grandson not going there. Anyway, I was there until 11 o'clock, and the way she talked, and so I couldn't take it. The way the things that we was saying, just negativity, and just I couldn't take it, and I didn't want to rude to her because it's my mother. So I leave. 11 o'clock, I said, you know what, I'm going home. And she said, go on, them can do what they want to do with you. And that let my eye fill with tears when I hear she talk that way. Anyway, I come down, and the moment I reached down, the street was blocked with people. And I went to my friend and I asked her what happened. And she said, girl, your mate with a plan for burn you with black acid. Tonight, somebody come and burn she. And tears flushed my eye. And she said, why are you crying? It's you should have got burned up tonight. And I just have that heart. I just don't have a wicked heart. I don't know, I can't have a wicked heart. And I cried when I hear because it's a butter pan. Our big cheese pan, that's one of those. The girl full with acid and burner, and I cried. Honestly, I cried. Anyway, I said, you know what? He came from prison 2 months after because of good behavior, they released him. And he charged. This time he wasn't guilty because I was standing with him to ask for money to buy some feeding for the baby. And a policeman go down the street, and he just used his finger and point and said, boom, hey boy, you got dead. And the policeman turned back and went up the street and went on the other street and shot himself in him foot and go and report him and says him do it. So he ended up getting 2 life imprisonment for that. And the way I felt, I said, you know what, I'll just keep myself to myself. I had my 2 sons for him. His father took one, and then, my mother she had the other one. So I went to work, and I was scared to get involved with men because I was just scared of what I went through. And it so happened that I ended up talking to this guy, my girlfriend again, tell me this guy liked me and everything, and I ended up talking to this guy. And it was another hell, and I back out from there. I couldn't take it. And I stayed for about a year and a half to just don't talk to men because I just scared. Till men start to say me I'm a sodomite, because through them not to meet a man, they're saying me I'm a sodomite. I didn't care. I just keep myself. And I was just scared to get involved with men. And it so happened that my last son, my daughter, I got involved with her father. And when I was 6 weeks pregnant, and I told him, he said, if him to give me maintenance for the child, I have to come back to bed to him each time if I want money. And honestly, I tell him to kiss my ass. And I have my baby. I go through that 9 months. And my brother have a friend, and he come there one day when I was about 6 months, and he said, you know what, I have a room down my yard. You can come and live there until you get on your foot again. And one day I didn't have any feeding for the baby, so I walk it. It was a long way, but I walk it back to my aunt to see if I could get something for the baby to eat. And would you believe that the boy, the brother friend, carry a woman into the room and have sex with her on my bed for me and my baby asleep, and lock me out until after 3 in the morning, my outer street, sit down with my 11-month-old baby. I cried. I cried. And when I finally get somewhere to leave, he come one night when he realized I was gonna leave. Him come there and him come knock on the door, and I said, "What do you want?" And him said, "Open the door," and me kick it off. I open the door because to a theme place. I open the door and him come in and him sex me so till him feel satisfied and him leave. In that, me get pregnant.
Your first baby father went to prison. You say he got 2 life sentence. Did he ever come
Yeah,
out?
get 2 life in prison.
Did he ever come out? Did he die in there? What happened? What happened to him before you continue?
I want to tell you something. He went in the January and the March. This February. I got a call. Says in the hospital. I went to the public hospital to see what was it, and he was threatening me. Even the security guard said, "Get up and leave." He was threatening me that I belong to him, and what have you, and if I try to get involved with the man, we have man who will do things to me. So the security guard said, "Get up and leave and go home. And don't come back to the prison. Don't make us say come back to the prison, come look for this man, because he's sick in his head." And I left. And the March, the police who let him get the sentence, the police sent a poison food inside the prison for him and tell him never usually eat from people. But the boy who collect the food, the boy said the policeman, when he described the policeman, I know it says that policeman, he said the policeman, tell him to tell my baby father said is one of his friend send the food for him. And he ate it. I was at work. I was getting ready to go work the morning when the inspector called me and said, "You need to come over to the Spanish Town prison." And when I went over there, they said the morning they went to open the cell for him to come out to wash his face and clean his teeth. And when they opened the cell, he was bleeding from his eye, his mouth, his ears, his nose. Every vein inside of him was burst. And when I went and tell the father turned against him so much because he got that man, that my baby father is somebody with 9 straight A's, 9. And to turn to politics and get so wicked, the father cut him off completely. So when I went and tell the father, say he died and how he died, the father said, let the politician then bury him. And I didn't say enough. The politician, my brother, is the same people them in the prison bury him in the prison. So I didn't even tell his children how we end up. And I end up talking to this guy where I have where I was living at his house, and he come in on me and come take what he want because his theme house and him can do what he want. He had 18 daughters, and when I get pregnant there that night, I had a son. And one of his women did all kind of witchcraft thing to hurt me and the baby because I am the only one who has son, and which I didn't interested in him and him his woman, because I was just there because of circumstances. And anyway, I got a room and I leave, and he stabbed me when I was leaving, and I just leave. I just leave. Anyway, I ended up living near back to where I used to live from the first time, and I struggled. I struggled. I couldn't get no job. Because I dropped out of school from 14. I couldn't get no job. I struggled until one time I get a work in Sunrise Orange Juice Factory. There I worked for a while and could help my children, and I ended up talking to my girlfriend again. Yes, when you don't listen to your own heart and you just take what people say. A girl who I thought was my friend, she died now. but I think people would know her. She was Leroy's small baby mother. And she said to me, "Oh, this big man like you and him love your children and what have you." Anyway, she said, "Give it a try. You don't know because a big man." And I said, "Okay." And I started talking to this man, and somebody point me out. He came from St. Mary, and somebody point me out to his wife. And his wife, one morning, I stepped out of my house to go to work, to go to the bathroom, to have a bath. And when I wake up back, I was in the hospital. And I bled for 5 months straight. I bleed until I come down looking like bony chicken back. That's how bad I looked. And a lady said to him one day, I was getting injection at the university hospital until the doctors have to start inject me on my legs because my buttocks get very tough and they start have to inject me on the leg. And one day a lady, my mother friend said, "You don't see it's not doctor work this. You don't see it's witchcraft, somebody witchcraft the child." And she took me to some Christian people, and the lady barked me off in some water with lime and scallion and salt, and they barked me off, and the instant they barked me in the water and she put on a different sanitary pad on me, the bleeding stopped instantaneously. The bleeding stopped. And she called me into a room, me and him, and she said, "Look into that bottle." And I look into the bottle and she said, "Who do you see?" And I said, "I don't see anybody," because I just never believe in those things. And she said, "Look good. Who do you see?" And the second time when she said, "Look good," it was his wife, the man's wife face, and one of his friends' face come up in the something in the bottle. And I said, "Why?" So what? And the lady said, "That's the man she gave something to come and drop on your step that morning, that night. That's why you end up in the hospital and bleeding." I bled for 5 months straight. People have to lift me to put me on the pail because I can't go to the toilet. They have to lift me to put me. That's how bad I went. And I said, "You know what? Back off and leave me." From the lady got me healed. I said, "Back off and leave me." And I keep myself about a year because I just scared. I was wondering if it's a curse on me with man. Anyway, I got involved with my last child father. It took me a while for me because he was saying, "Why, I love you. Why are you acting like you're scared of me? Or you don't know me?" I was just scared. Tension. But anyway, eventually I see that he really checked for me. And I got involved with him. And I got pregnant again. That time I was 25 years old. Anyway, got pregnant.
You said
and
you said contraceptives didn't work with you or something? You said contraceptives never worked for you or what exactly?
No. Remember I tell you, so when I go for the contraception, I know the girl go tell him. So she see me in the clinic, I go take injection. And him kick me and burst up my face.
Yeah, but this was a different person at this point, right?
Eh?
But this was a different person at this point, right?
Yeah, my last baby father, yeah, was a different person. I got pregnant for him, and I was in 6 weeks. When I was 6 weeks in the pregnancy, the doctor, I had to go to the clinic. And when I went to the Jubilee clinic, the doctor said another hole developed in the heart, so they have to keep me in. Would you believe I was in that hospital from 6 weeks until the 9 months when the baby to born?
How many
And my
kids
mother
at this
passed
point you
the
had?
hospital every day to go to work and passed the hospital to leave work, and she never look up at the hospital. She don't even hold up her head to look up.
At this point, how many kids you
Never come there
had?
the old 9 months.
At this point, how many kids it is
Pardon?
that you had?
At this point, I had 5 kids.
Okay, all right. Continue from where you can continue.
Yeah, and it so happened that the headwater burst from the baby from the headwater burst from January, and the baby wouldn't born. And one night them itch me upon all kind of things, And one night I was laying down there, and my grandmother came, and she gave me something to drink, and then she pointed and showed me some woman, and she said, those are the women that is doing this to you. They want to kill the baby. And when I look, it was one of the guy. It was the guy, one of his women who he was along with, and our family. And she said, don't let they take you to the operation theater. Anyhow you go to the operation theater, you won't come out. She said, see there, look over there, that's what you're gonna end up into. And she showed me a casket, because they were saying they had to do surgery on me. And she said, don't. Anyway, she said to me, I have to leave. And I said, where are you going? You're leaving your handkerchief. She said, I have to leave, see him coming. And when I looked, she said, look before you. She said, open your Bible at Psalms 91 and put it at the end of the bed. And when I did, he came up. I was seeing the man definitely in a doctor's shirt. He came up 3 times towards my bed. But each time he came and buck up on the Bible with the Psalm 91, the third time he walked across from my bed and go over the next side and push a baby mother off her bed. And who could see him to the hospital? And she said, Joan, I was in church and the Lord sent, and I wasn't saved at that time, but she said she was in church and the Lord tell her to come to the hospital to me and anoint me. And she anoint me, and the baby, remember the Edgewater birth from January 16, the baby never born until the 4th of February. I went through all of that. And it's so happened now. My son, that's my 4th child. Me and Russia and my children, them live together, 2 of them, the girl and one of the boy. And some men in the area planned to rape my daughter because she wouldn't give her body freely to them. It so happened that they planned the rape the Saturday, and a lady over her fence, they didn't see her, and she hear what they planned to do. She said she was scared to come and tell me or to see me, to warn me about it, which I didn't care when she was telling me 1 year after. But the Saturday night, they made the plan. The Sunday I was in church, that I got saved, and the Sunday I was in church, and the Spirit said to me, go and pray. I prayed, and when I came home, I saw the street scanty, and I was saying, wow, something wrong here. When I went into the yard, they said, let I tell you something. One of the guy come across the street and see your daughter stand up at the gate with her friend talking. And he was waiting for the friend to walk away to shut her in her face. But a police car came down the street and he had to run. And one of the guys who they planned the plan with didn't like it because him did love my daughter. And he came and told her to leave immediately. And she left and went to another city. And the Tuesday night, when they're gonna kill anybody, they shoot out the street light. The Tuesday night, my son came home, just coming from his girlfriend, and he came home and he said, Mom, you cook anything? And I said, no, all I had is $60. And don't tell me about porridge, because it's not people can drink porridge like you. Anyway, he said to me, Mom, I don't like how I feel. I said, get on your knees and pray. Get on your knees right now and pray. But I already hear it in church the night. I was in church the night and the pastor was preaching, and he stopped all of a sudden and said, listen, there's somebody who's going to go through disaster tonight. We need to get on our knees and pray. And while I was praying, in the spirit, I hear the voice said to me, you're going to be shot. And I jump up and call, so the church sisters around me, and I said, please pray with me. And when church over, they said, why you don't stay in church or you don't come home with us? But I said, I have a son there, so I had to go home. When I went home, the street was dead. I went in. I couldn't lock the door because my son never come home yet. Well, finally, when he came home, and he said that to me, he said, Mom, I don't like how I feel. And I said to him, go and pray. As the instant he finished pray and he said, amen, the door was kicked. I jumped off the bed. My eye went right to the clock, and it was 10 past 11. I jumped off the bed. Now, my house, you have to come through a passage through the kitchen, then come down a passageway to come to the bedroom. And the guy come up. I catch him right at the curve to come up to the passageway, and the stove and the deep freeze was there. And I said, I stand up in front. I said, in the name of Jesus, what you want in here? And he pushed me. And when he pushed me and I fell back on the wall, he pushed me again and used his elbow and licked me in my face. I dropped back on the deep freeze, and I grabbed to the back of his shirt, and he used his elbow again and hit me in my face, and I fell to the ground. He walked down. That time he had the big black gun in his hand. He walked down to the bedroom, and he lift up my mattress, and he lift up my children their mattress. That time I didn't know it was my daughter them looking for. And when he see that what him looking for, who him looking for wasn't there, he just turned the gun and shot off my son. Oh, shot my son straight in his forehead, blew the whole of his brains on the wall where he stand, on the TV that was near there on the wall, the whatnot, everything was blood up. I fell on my knees and I screamed and I said, Jesus, Jesus. And the guy walked over to me with the gun and knocked the hot gun at my left ears and fired it. He asked me for money first. And I said, all I have is $60. Why you murder my son? And he fired a shot to my head.
Now, as you heard, I said it in the beginning. This one was one of the worst episodes shared, right? And now you understand why. Sad. This went on into another hour. And with each minute, the saga got worse. And you won't regret listening to the rest of it. If you want to hear the rest of what happened next, click the link in the description. It will take you on over to the very exact video where you can continue listening to what happened. When you go over there, please remember to hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, click all notifications so that when we do go live on Unstoppable Live with stories like these and others, you will get notified and be a part of the live stream so that you can call in, share your opinion and your views on whatever topic we're discussing at the time. Please also remember to hit the subscribe button right here on the recap channel, so once we upload another recap, you will not miss it. Until the next Unstoppable recap, stay strong, stay motivated, but most of all, remain unstoppable.
Unstoppable youth, unstoppable youth.